Good evening, folks. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you for joining and being a subscriber. If you're not a subscriber, hit the subscribe button. If you are listening on the podcast, welcome to the Frontiersman podcast. I thought it'd be kind of cool to record a video for YouTube and then a recording for the podcast at the same time. So for those who want kind of a visual, here I am. For those who want to listen on the podcast, here I am. And also, with the podcast, you can be listening to it on through your headphones, out running or out, driving around, whatever you do. Either way, it allows me to, like I said in the introductory podcast, to get this out in multiple mediums and get the message out. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see my Marine Corps veteran hat. Want to wear this and show it off in the video because one of my friends and a follower and a customer bought this hat and gave it to me, and I wanted to show it to y'all and say thank you, James. Thank you for sending this hat to me. I really appreciate that. So today I want to talk about 5 lessons we can learn from 2020 so far. Who knows what's coming next? And guys, I think it's going to be some bad stuff coming down the line. So let's take a look at what we've learned so far, and we can build from that. And these are just a few things. There's a lot of things we can take away from this, but 5 things. Number 1, you need food and you need water. That's the most important thing. Food and water. You have to eat and you have to drink water. You can live a lot longer without food than you can without water. And the prepper community, and that's just something that kind of gets overlooked and kind of not really taken into account as much. But you need water, or you need a way to purify water, a lot of water. You can't live without it. So with all the shutdowns going on, with all these orders and lockdowns going on across the country. People complain about, there not being certain food items and such in the store. But guys, you can't blame other people for your situation. The people went out and rushed the stores and bought up, certain foods, and there's supposedly shortages of things. But, we should have these things stored up. We should have food and water stored up ahead of time. You can't blame other people for running out and buying the stuff, and then you weren't able to get it. You should have had it. The hard times are gonna come. They just are. They're going to. So why not prepare? Look how many storms have you lived through in your life? And you should have food and water stored up for that. Don't go running and jumping in a FEMA line or and something like that. Provide for yourself. We're all about being self-reliant here. You don't want your kids and your family to go hungry under any circumstance. And things, like I said, things can get a lot worse. You need food and water. I'd say at least 3 to 6 months to start out with. Preferably more. You can't have enough. You can't have too much. Just keep storing food. Stack it up over time. Food's cheap. Every time you go to the grocery store, just buy a little extra. Buy 10 extra cans or something. It's cheap. You get like 30-something cents, 40-something cents a can. I went to the grocery store before and, just filled a buggy up with canned food just to stick in the food storage. Now we rotate it out and go through it and eat it and replace it. And I'm, thankful that we did that, because I've told people before, I had a feeling about a year ago that I really needed to up the food storage. And I did, and then all this stuff happened. I didn't have to go anywhere and get out into all the mess because we were already set on food. Number 2, just your daily items that you need to get through your life. You got to eat, you got to drink, and you also got to wipe your butt. Everybody went out and, rushed and got toilet paper. And another thing people were mad about, I can't get toilet paper, I can't get wipes for my baby because of all these daggum hoarders. You should have had the things already. When there's emergencies and things like this, stuff starts coming off the shelves. People rush out and buy the stuff. It's going to happen. Even in an emergency, you still need to wipe your butt. You need to brush your teeth. Toothpaste. That's another one. Toothpaste is dirt cheap. I went the other day and bought a year's worth of toothpaste. I mean, it wasn't that a few dollars. It wasn't much to buy a crap ton of toothpaste. You can go fill a buggy up. That's one thing I don't have to go to the store and buy. It's toothpaste. Number 3, with all these protests and violence going on, and looting and all the stuff that's been going on revolving around all the issues today, it's obvious, or it should be obvious to everybody right now, that you can't depend on government to be there for you when you need them. There are police departments that are standing down in certain areas and that are not responding to calls. Don't depend on them, because they're not going to be there for you when you really need them most. And this is not anything against law enforcement, but they just don't stop crimes. They just react to crimes. You are your first defense. So you need guns and you need ammo, and you need to carry them around, and you need to be trained with them. You need lots of ammo because you need to train with it. Okay? So get guns and get ammo. Don't go crazy and go out there and buy a bunch of guns. Buy yourself a pistol, carry it all the time. Have yourself a rifle or a shotgun for home defense, and train with those things. Get the few things that you need and train with them, because you have to be able to defend yourself and your own family. And a side note, while we're talking about that, seeing these people who are ending up in these in the middle of these protests, in the middle of all this violence, and their cars getting smashed up, and they're trying to get away, or there's been people that have run people over and then they're under fire for that. But don't get yourself and your family in the situation in the first place, and then you don't have to deal with the possible repercussions of whatever action you decide as necessary to take, or get yourself hurt. I would not bring my kids into the middle of that in the first place. Pay attention. We talked about that in the situational awareness video, that just pay attention to where you're at and what you're doing. Stay out of it. It's not worth it. Don't go out looking for a fight. Number 4, money. You need an emergency fund. That was another thing that I was happy about and I was grateful for, that when all this stuff started, I got laid off. I was out of work for a few months. I didn't get unemployment because we had plenty of money saved up for a bad situation. Because I know that multiple times throughout our lives, we're going to find ourselves in bad situations. You know it's coming. You just don't know exactly when. So be prepared with your food, your water, your daily stuff, your guns and ammo, and your emergency fund, because you're going to need to pay the bills. And on top of that, I think everybody should be trying to get out of debt. That's one thing I did at the start of all this, because I didn't know what was coming, and we still don't know what's coming on down the line. I believe that there is definitely a economic collapse, or some bad economic times coming. But I was happy that we had an emergency fund built up, and I didn't have to get unemployment, because I don't want anything from the government. It's my job to take care of my family, not theirs. It's my job to pay my bills, not theirs. I went out and paid off all my debts, like I said. It's just not the government's job to take care of us financially or otherwise. Take care of yourself, and have some money that you need to get by. Number 5, and perhaps the most important, is you need skills. You don't need just stuff. Thank goodness that, as y'all know, I don't do leatherwork full time right now. But the fact that I have this business and that I have leatherworking skills and other skills on top of that, it gave me a cushion, a nice cushion, when I was out of work from a regular job. because I had other skills I could fall back on, or some people say a side hustle. Get yourself a side hustle or whatever. Don't just get off of work and go home and sit in front of the TV and um, eat popcorn or whatever lazy things we can think of to do. Learn how to do things. Learn how to make money on your own. Learn how to just create your own job. So if the one you have now falls through, well, you just work for yourself. We find ourselves in a bad situation like we have where you can't go to work, but you can still make money. Say selling something online or providing a good or service for other people in your neighborhood or in your community. And that will definitely come in handy too in a total SHTF type of situation where there just are no jobs. What if there were no jobs? What if there were no jobs to be had? What would you do? You'd figure it out. And you would create your own job. You would become your own employer. You would provide the service or the good that is in demand at the time that you're capable of. But if you're not able to do anything, I mean, you're screwed. So that's just 5 things that I can think of now. Get your food and water stored up because you're going to need it. The things that you need on a daily basis, stock that stuff up. Guns and ammo, defend yourself. Have yourself an emergency fund and obtain skills. The number 1, obtain skills. Nobody knows everything. There's always more that we can all learn. And I encourage everybody to constantly be improving and learning. So, if you're not into preparedness, I hope that this year has kind of got your butt in gear and made you realize that you need to be prepared. I'm not saying be some kind of crazy zombie apocalypse prepper. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about practical stuff, just practically being prepared for emergencies and bad situations because they're going to come. They are. There's nothing you can do about it. So you might as well get ready for it. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you're listening on the podcast, I hope you enjoy this episode. And I will see you guys next time. I'm out.